Hey, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you tuning in. It's been a little bit, I think it's been like a couple of weeks since we've gotten on here for the Bases Loaded podcast. But look, we're back with another great episode. We're going to talk about everything that's going on around the MLB, of course, because there are some interesting stories that are out there, which we'll touch on in a little bit. But before we even get into all that, got to introduce the crew. You guys already know them by now. Right here below me, got Aaron, Brutally Honest Sports. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's been quite a while, yeah. So we're back, ready to go. I'm excited to talk some baseball for sure.
All right. And then right here next to me, Wisconsin Sports on the Go. Like if you pay attention really carefully, you'll see behind him looks a little different. It's a little different. He's in a new room and everything. We got Trajan, Wisconsin Sports on the Go. How you doing?
Oh, we're kicking. We're kicking tonight, boys. I tell you what, though, I've had enough of Livy Doon. And if it means Paul Skeens has to go away from the MLB, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I've had enough of seeing her. I'll be honest with you. Like, it's got me almost in the fighting mood. It's got me almost in the fight mood over here seeing that. But I'm simmer. I'm calm. It's a great day. It's a great day. Glad to be back. It has been too long. It's so much has happened. So much. We got to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll start with this kind of a conversation we had right before we came on here. But umpires, they look. We thought the Angel Hernandez stepping away, we were hoping that might have solved the problem, but no, he just has other guys who have stepped up and filled in for him. Like every time I watch a Red Sox game, there's a pitch that'll be like 2 feet outside the zone, calling a strike. Batters looking back like, what are you looking at? Catchers are even surprised they're getting the calls now. It's just like, what are we doing here? And like I said, I know Aaron, like you were talking about it, so I kind of let you go here for a moment because, like I said, it is something that you see on a nightly basis, and we understand that the human element, they're not going to be 100% on balls and strikes. We understand that, but some of these calls are just like, you can't be that serious. Like if it's off the corner a little bit and you give them a strike, fully understand that. But some of these pitches are way outside the zone that everybody in the stadium is like shocked that you're calling it a strike. You might be doing something wrong. But yeah, so Aaron, like
Aaron, remember, family friendly. Family friendly.
family friendly.
We'll,
Dial
we'll
back.
keep
family
we'll keep a leash on it. We'll keep a leash. It's easy to. It's easy. I mean, when I'm watching the game, let's just put it this way: it's not family friendly. But I mean, yeah, it's just like Kyle. I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you say, like, you'll see a ball 6-8 inches off the plate. Like, I get it. Guys are throwing crazy stuff. Breaking balls that drop 14 inches, this, that, and the third. But like, you'll see it on a fastball too, and it's on a nightly basis. Like, you could turn on Trajan's Brewers, you could turn on the Tigers. Like, any game you turn on, you'll start seeing. And I've seen it in entire at bats before this season. And I could be wrong. I mean, I'd have to pull the statistics on, are the umpires, missing calls more than ever. But the eye test, it feels like they are. It feels like they're not just missing, but they're missing badly, and it's happening way too, like, a nightly basis. So all I'm asking for, I'm not, like, I joke with you guys a lot, is like, we need robot umps. I mean, I'm getting to the point where I wouldn't care if it was, but
Mm-hmm.
it's they need to hold their umpires more accountable, because I mean, let's say it's game 7 and the Brewers are playing whoever, right? And it comes down to a call, and like the ball is 3 inches off I mean, like 4, 5, 6 inches off the plate, and boom, the Brewers lose a series. Because, like, I mean, it's gonna get to that point where I know they have, they try and position the best umpires in the postseason, but like, show me the best umpires. I mean, that's slim pickings, I think, nowadays. So I want MLB to take control of it. That's all I'm asking. I want to see a conscious effort of, we're going to make this better. Okay, Angel Hernandez is gone. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Insert, whoever other umpire there is, and they're not much better. And I see, like I said, I see it way too much. So I know we see it in the NFL. We see it. I'm sure you guys see it more in the NBA than I do. But to me, it's just way too consistent, and there's not really any effort from baseball to say, hey, we're going to fix this. Like, it's just like, okay, it's what it is. Like that's not good enough in my opinion.
I have two options that I could think to fix it before robot umps. Number one, we see it in the minor leagues already, challenging balls and strikes. I'm not saying that you give them unlimited challenges throughout a game because that would get exhausting. But 2, 3 challenges in a game where you get to challenge a call, that could be beneficial because then it really cracks down on, hey, this umpire is bad because they challenged him because if you say you retain your challenge if you get it right. He got challenged 14 times tonight, and every single one of them was turned back the opposite way. Well, now you look bad. Now you look real bad. Also, holding umpires accountable. You have the ability to send players up and down in Major League Baseball to the minors. There's minor league umpires galore, right? I could see if you have your umpire association, you have your group of umpires down in AAA, down in AA, whatever it is. Cycle them around. Move these guys around. You might have some AAA umpires right now who are pretty spot on with what they're calling down in AAA. Now, I know it's going to get tough because rules do change. You know, right now, minor leagues, you have the ability to challenge calls. There's different things that they try out at different levels. So the rule differences might hurt that kind of, option. But I think it's a good thing that you could try. You see a AAA ump who's, let's just say he's 94% or 95% accurate. That's pretty darn good, right? That's pretty darn good. You have an umpire up at the major league level, he's 85%. Okay, cycle him. Move this guy up, move this guy down, do something like that. That's where I would, kind of look on doing something is before robot umps get introduced, try something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that, Major League Baseball has to worry about because kind of like in Aaron's scenario, let's say you did have a World Series game, a Game 7 that everybody's just locked in on, and it ends on a caught-looking strike 3 on a slider that's like 2 feet off the plate, and people just go like, oh, how anticlimactic is that? Now, obviously, that's the extreme because, the odds of that happening, who knows what the percentage is on it. But it's definitely something that's going to stick in the back of every baseball fan's mind. Like it's bad enough you're doing it in the regular season, but some of these guys are going to grade out well enough to be in postseason rotations for crew chiefs and all that. If they carry the same thing into the postseason, now it's like, how fair is it? Now batters who may know a certain umpire will have to overextend themselves because they know they might give away a wide strike zone or something like that. And like I don't know what they're supposed to do with that, how they're supposed to combat that. Like it doesn't make any sense. And I don't know, robot umpires may be the best way to go, but we already know that a lot of baseball fans are traditionalists and they'll never be okay with it. Even though it could bring a better aspect to the game where, you punch into the robot, strike zone is defined this way. Every hitter knows it's defined that way, and everything's going to be called consistently. But fans will be like, well, I missed the human element. Do you? Do you really, though?
I do like the corners, though. I do like the corners. I'm okay with an inch. I'm okay with an inch or two around the box. That's where it might, some of these pitchers, it might actually hurt because, the Brewers have a couple guys who love working corners. I don't, looking around the league, there's guys who like the corners. They don't have that high velocity. They have the breaking stuff, but they love to use the outside corner, pinpoint a changeup, sinker, whatever it is. So
Aaron Nola to a T. Yeah, Aaron Nola.
Yeah, I mean, the robot ump, I like the ability that it's going to be like, bam, bam. I like that, but I like the human error of the 1 inch, 2 inch, because, that little bit of breathing room for a pitcher out there where I don't have to just hit this box. I can be a little bit off in my breaking stuff because now you're forcing pitchers to have to leave it over the plate in a general area with their breaking ball or anything like that. That could hurt them. That could hurt a little bit. I can see it from both sides. I really can. I can see it from both sides. I can see the beneficial part of both sides of it. It just worries me that you're going to hurt a lot of pitchers in that essence of bringing a robot ump and having a precision zone. Now, will they have to adjust? Yeah, I'm not saying they can't, but it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt pitching. I can say that. It's going to hurt some pitchers a lot.
Right. And I do think you would have to give them kind of the leeway because I feel like even on broadcast when they show like the K zone, at least some of them I've seen have had like a little border on the outside of that where it's kind of seen as like an acceptable strike as well. So I feel like that would work in because if the strike zone is like the only boundary you have, then a lot of these hitters like Judge or Otani and all that, like if they know you're not going to go outside of that, it makes them a more dangerous hitter. Especially
80
with
home
every
runs a year.
yeah, 90% of guys are throwing these slurs and all this kind of stuff, which is meant to, stay in the zone for like 75% and then dive out. If you kind of take that pitch away, because nobody really throws those within the strike zone because they'd probably get hit a mile. Like, yeah, it's going to make pitchers work a lot differently. So
I think like what Trajan said, like we have to have like at least like 3, I'd say 5 because of the way I would say only 3 pitches, but 5, like I guess you guys have probably seen that video where they tap on the helmet, boom, they go up the scoreboard, show the K zone, show where the pitch is at. But like because these umpires, in my opinion, are so incompetent, give them 5 pitches per side that they can just quick. Like that's a 10-second process. And like if that's like if baseball purists want to get mad, it's like, okay, you're trying to change, calls that are just like when that pitch I sent you guys in the chat, it was like, 4 inches at least below the zone, like stuff like that. Boom, challenge it, bang, right back. All right, that's a ball instead of a strike. Like it's that simple. It's that quick. Like Trajan said, if we just implemented something, my thing is like with baseball is like they'll wait another 3 or 4 years. And then they'll be like, okay, we're going to officially do it now. Like that. And that's where I'm like, I expect it, but it's disappointing because it's a known issue and it just doesn't really get, attention that way.
Yeah. I mean, you can't completely take away that pitch below the zone because Red Sox just signed Rich Hill to a minor league deal. And that guy loves working down in the zone with that slow breaking ball. The Red Sox pitching staff, gotta love it. They're relying on Rich Hill now. They went and got James Paxton back. He hurts his calf his second start. Yeah, Rich Hill's doing nothing. Let's go bring him back in.
But just for the Brewers. Somebody needs him to face the Brewers. He's a dog when it comes to playing the Brewers.
I know
that. Can't figure out 70
mile an hour curve, man.
70 is rough, man.
Gotta love it. But there was another story that did pop up around baseball. Actually, I forgot to put up there we go. Get tonight's scores going for you. Jory was going on. Oh, actually, we'll start here. From a Braves fan, make it stop the injuries. Because I don't know if you guys heard, but Austin Riley, the latest Brave to end up on the injured list, he's out 6 to 8 weeks with a broken hand. So a team that's seen everybody falling by the wayside loses another. They are still within the playoff, within the wild card spot right now. But I guess I'll start with this. Do you think they'll be able to overcome all this and maintain a playoff spot? Or I mean, are you surprised that they have managed to overcome all this so far this year?
I would say more or less surprised that they've been able to hold on with, I mean, they've lost just about everybody at every point in this entire season. Like, holy crap. Like, you almost feel bad. I know, Aaron, you're a Phillies fan, so it's hard to feel bad for the Braves, but I mean, I would even feel for a Cardinals fan if I had to watch Arenado, Goldschmidt, everybody that ever was on that team just slowly start to go down. It's like, holy crap. Now the Cubs, I don't care. Like if everybody got hurt, whatever. I get over it. But I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. That's tough. I mean, is Ozzy still out? Is Ozzy Albies out too?
He is.
You're missing Ozzy, you're missing Acuna, you're missing Austin Riley. I mean, you still got Matt Olson, right? He's batting a whole whopping 230 right now, but you still got Matt Olson. I mean, that team it's impressive. I got to say, I am going to hold out on the fact that it is mightily impressive that they are still above 500. Once they lost, when they lost, I'm trying to think of a very good pitcher. Very good pitcher. What the heck is his name?
Strider.
Spencer Strider. Strider, Acuna, and I mean, Elbies, Austin Riley. Just about everybody you could think about goes down. Olson's not hitting well. Murphy, that was still the dumbest trade they've ever made. I don't understand it to this day because you see what Contreras is doing with the Brewers. You see what Murphy's doing with the Braves. And it's like, did we really win? I don't think so. So Murphy's not hitting well. You got 90-year-old Whit Merrifield playing second base for you right now. Orlando Arcia had one good year. Trust me, as a Brewer fan, I'm going to tell you, one good year with the Braves, and he had one good postseason with the Brewers, and they just thought, hey, he could be our starting shortstop. I'm going to tell you this now. No, he can't, but here he is. Kalenic ain't hit well. Ozuna's about the only bright spot. He's about the only season-long bright spot that they've had so far. I mean, yes, you look at the pitching staff, Chris Sale, you look at all them guys, but lineup-wise, when I look at this lineup, I say to myself, holy cats. There is like how they've stayed above 500 with what's been going on. I don't know. That tells me a lot about the Braves, Snitker, and everything that this Braves team, they just know how to win games. They know how to sneak out games, and they do a good job of that. So am I worried about the Braves with losing Austin Riley? Yeah, they're not going to win any gunfights, right? They're not going to win any shootouts right now. But I still think this team can find ways to sneak out games. I still think they can. I was just trying to find the Braves schedule coming up, see if it's done.
They got the
Phillies
with the Phillies tomorrow. Yep.
Oh boy, that's not going to be a good start. But then, I mean, you do have the Nationals, so you get to survive, I guess, even though the Nationals are a pesky team. But then you have the Twins and the Phillies again for a 4-game set. So this could be a little bit of a stretch here where the Phillies, if Aaron's Phillies ever figure out how to win consistent baseball games again, they've been struggling to do that. But if the Phillies figure it out and win some baseball games right now, they can separate themselves from the Braves, and the NL East could be locked up by September 1st. I could really see that. Unless if them Mets, I don't know. Them Mets, they keep winning games. I don't know.
It's the Mets.
This is true. They in New York fashion, they will find a way to screw it up.
They might be a playoff team, but that's like, I mean, and I give them credit.
The league sucks. They all suck.
Well, yeah, that too. That too. I mean, if you would have told me the Mets would like going into this year, and they started at like 5-19 or something, like they were one of the worst starting teams in baseball. So I can at least tip my cap to the Mets. Like for what they have on that roster right now, they're playing above their baseball card. I mean, you got Lindor, who's not the same guy since he's come over, but I mean, he still is popping the bat, but like Alonso's kind of on a down year as well. Like there's a lot of, I mean, I'm surprised the pitching has kind of held them in, honestly, at points. But I mean, to go back to Kyle's thing, I mean, yeah, it's impressive, but at the same time, like I don't know. They have a good foundation, even, you know, guys come in, guys come out. Like they're loaded enough where it doesn't shock me that they're, I mean, if they went on and won the division, I mean, that's an all-time collapse for the Phillies because, I mean, you pretty much have everybody healthy. I mean, Trey Turner's gone in and out. Schwarber was out for a little bit. Harper was out. JT was out. But all those guys are playing now. And they've played most of the season. So roster, like I'll take the Phillies roster over the Braves, even at full strength. I just think the Phillies are deeper, especially in the pitching department. But I mean, yeah, you got to at least, you know, once again, I'll say tip your cap to the Braves. They've treaded water with what they have, and I no fear of them in the playoffs. I have absolutely none. It would be in typical Philadelphia fashion to like lose a series like that, though. You know, like a Braves team with nothing really to play for because all these guys are out, or you know, Strider's out, or Acuna, like at least your star players are out, and then boom, they come into Philly and somehow take it. Like it wouldn't. I've seen stupid. I mean, we saw the Diamondbacks last year. Like that shouldn't have happened. But yeah, I mean, I think they're. It's going to be interesting for that wild card. I had that up here. See, like I don't think the Giants really have a shot, but like you could see. I mean, to me, the Padres are a very surprising 70-55 right now. That just doesn't even seem real. But once again. They'll hit the playoffs and lose in the first round. You can book it. But other than that, I mean, yeah, the Braves, as long as they, I mean, even if they lose 2 out of 3 to the Phillies and then take 2 out of 3 to the Nats, and then like as long as they kind of stay at 500 level baseball, I think down the stretch, unless the Mets continue to play. I mean, now you look at the Mets 4-6 in the last 10, but I just, yeah, I mean, I think the Braves probably get that last wild card spot and kind of maybe finish exactly how it is now, the Padres, Diamondbacks, and Braves for the top 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, look, if they are able to do that, which kind of the weird part of the whole injury issues that they've had is the fact that Sale has been healthy all year. And Sale, up until this point, the last few years in Boston, he couldn't stay healthy. And he manages to go to Atlanta where everybody's falling around him, and he's been lights out. I mean, was it like 14-3, ERA around 2.5 or 2.6 or something like that? So he's having a great season. And if they are a wild card team, I'm sure Snitker will get a lot of consideration for manager of the year. I mean, I can't remember who's running the front office anymore, but might get some consideration for that as well, because they have managed to deal with, like you said, Strider, Acuna, Riley, like Albies, a lot of guys who you were expecting to perform at a high level for them coming into this year have missed significant time, and they're 8 games above 500.
Dude,
so
if I'm going to fight for manager of the year right now, if Pat Murphy for the Brewers does not win manager of the year in the National League, that is a complete crack of absolute family-friendly crapola. Like, crap all over that award. Like, it means nothing. Does anybody, do people forget about the Brewers sometimes? Like, I'm looking at this NL manager of the year race, and, Pat Murphy isn't even that big, talked about. And, I mean, does anybody, pay attention to the Brewers? 20 games above 500. They just went 7-3 on the homestand there. 11 games up on the Cardinals right now. A team that was in the Brewers that were picked to finish 4th in the NL Central to start the year. Corbin Burns gets traded away. Yelich is out for the year. We got random dudes out there on the field right now, guys that nobody in the MLB has heard about but us. We're the only guys who know who Sal Frelick was, who Bryce Terang is, and these guys are just producing. They're finding ways to win. I mean, look at our pitching staff. Look at the starting pitchers for the Brewers, and you tell me right now, outside of probably Freddie Peralta, if you would take anybody. If you would have at the start of the year said, I will take that guy onto my roster right now. Colin Ray, nobody's taken. Tobias Myers, ain't nobody taking Tobias. Aaron Savali came over from the Rays and was 4-8 with a 5 ERA. Frankie Montas he had a 5 ERA when he came over from the Reds. They are all you look at the Brewers, you look at their starting pitching, you're like, there ain't no way this team is 20 games above 500. If Brian Snitker wins National League Manager of the Year, I will personally I will go to Rob Manfred's house myself, and I will just kick his front door down. I don't know what I'm going to do after that, but I'm going to kick his front door down. That would just be, I speak for all Brewer fans. I speak for the good of baseball in telling you that if Pat Murphy does not win National League Manager of the Year and the Brewers continue on this torrid pace that they're on right now, they're a half game back of the Dodgers right now. They're one game back of the Phillies for the number 1 spot in the National League. This is a team in the Brewers who have no business. I tell you what, Aaron was just talking about the loaded up roster that the Phillies have compared to the Brewers. You would take nobody for the Brewers. You would take everybody from the Phillies. Outside of maybe Jackson Churio and William Contreras, because those two are toss-ups right now. But maybe some guys in the bullpen, too, for the Brewers. But
Rhys Hoskins.
Rhys Hoskins is a dog. He actually has been hitting better. I will give it to Rhys. He has been heating up for the Brewers. But, I mean, you look roster to roster, the Brewers have no business being where they are, and look at them. So, I do see your point. I just had to go on my feud there because
that's right.
It's my feud. I've been doing this all over social media because I keep seeing posts about this guy should win. It's are you not? Nobody watches the Brewers enough to say man, oh man, what Pat Murphy has done with this roster is unreal. Unreal. And he keeps like morale up in the clubhouse. He keeps confidence in these guys. Jackson Chourio, if everybody forgets, kind of started out exactly like Jackson Holiday did. Maybe a little bit better. Nothing too crazy to start. I mean, there was lots of people in Wisconsin who were like, hey, we have him for 8 years. Let's send Jackson Chourio down, bring somebody else up, let him get some at-bats down in the minors, then work him back up. Pat Murphy's like, no, I'm going to keep him in the lineup. This guy needs confidence. I'm going to keep him in there. We look at him now. That dude should be up there. I don't care who you are. That dude should be up there for Rookie of the Year. If you look at his stats, that dude should be up there for Rookie of the Year right now. I get Paul Skeens. I get all of that. But if we put Jackson Chourio's numbers up there right now, ever since Christian Yelich went down with an injury, Jackson Chourio heated up, and he absolutely is helping carry this Brewer team to a 20-game above 500 record right now. Pat Murphy has got to be the NL Manager of the Year at this point. He has to be. I mean, I get Phillies have looked good. Dodgers have looked good, but I don't care. Those teams are supposed to be good.
So I can tell you that there is somebody that is on your side, Trajan. FanDuel. I just went and looked at FanDuel's odds for National League Manager of the Year, and Pat Murphy is an overwhelming favorite according to FanDuel.
Bam.
They have Murphy. They have Mike Schilt from the Padres, Rob Thompson from the Phillies. They have Mendoza from the Mets, Shelton from the Pirates, and Marmol from the Cardinals as their top contenders. And Pat Murphy is the overwhelming favorite in that group.
I've always thought Manager of the Year, like, okay, Phillies, yeah, but they're supposed to be good. Like, my Manager of the Year, if there is a team out there like the Brewers, or if the Pirates weren't sucking now, like one of those teams that isn't supposed to be good, that finds a way to get into the playoffs or something, that's my Manager of the Year. Not this crap where it's Dave Roberts with the Dodgers. Like, they're supposed to be good. Their first 3 batters are worth more than the entire NL Central is as a whole. Like, it's ridiculous. You're supposed to be good. The Phillies are supposed to be good. Like, I don't care about those managers might be great, but you're not managing a team. You're just throwing a lineup. When you have a lineup like the Dodgers have, like that is like the ultimate job security. Like you can throw anybody in any spot and you're going to be fine. Like that is the easiest time to manage. But you tell me how easy it is to manage a team like, I don't know, the Brewers or the Cardinals right now, where it's like, I don't know who's hitting. I don't know who's not. I got to throw a lineup card out there and make it work. Like those are the guys that when it comes down to me, those are my manager of the year. Like you look at the Red Sox, Kyle, you're Red Sox. I look at that roster. That roster has no business being 7 games back of the division right now. I'll be honest with you. I look at that roster. I'm like, Jared Duran's good. Outside of that, Devers is good. But I mean, really, like 7 games back of the division, they got to be in the wild card race, right? They got to be in the wild card race yet.
Yeah,
they're in the wild card race. Like they're in the wild card race.
2.5, 3 back of the Royals. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I look at them and I say, I would throw them in there. I would throw Houston Astros. That team was garbage to start the year. What they did in this comeback, that means something to me. Like that should be when I come Manager of the Year, those are the guys that I want to be talking about. I don't want to be talking about I love the Orioles. I do. I love the youth that they have on that team. You know, maybe you can put them in there, but the Yankees, like, come on. Nobody cares. Like the Yankees, they're supposed to be good. Like you're supposed to be aren't my Manager of the Year anymore.
Well, and I wanted to ask you guys this because I was thinking about this earlier today too. Because I mean, Philadelphia sports media is like it's like New York or Boston, maybe even Chicago, where like they'll absolutely rip either the manager or players to shreds.
Boone sucks.
I actually don't like. I don't mind Boone, but
no, he's a fine guy. I just want a quick answer.
Yeah, no. He's a puppet though. Like anybody that's the Yankees manager is literally a figurehead. But the Phillies yesterday they get a guy to first. I think it was Rojas or whatever, whoever it was. I don't remember, but they have a chance to pinch hit Harper, right? And they're down 1. Yeah, I think they're down 1 or 2, whatever it was. I was working, but this situation came up, and Rob Thompson is getting absolutely smoked, as he should be. Rob Thompson, to me, he's lucky he has a good team. Like if Rob Thompson was managing the Brewers, Trajan, you guys would be 10 games over 500. He finds a way to screw things up. He doesn't find a way to win games. He finds ways to blow games. And I'll die on that hill. Everybody wants to praise him and kiss his feet. Not for me. Like, no. And he's the most vanilla guy. He's Belichick times 1,000 as far as no person. Like, guy doesn't know what a personality is. Like, he couldn't tell you what a personality is. So, and I think the players kind of adopt that. And this whole mindset now is like the Phillies are playing for the postseason. Like, they'll drop a game here and there because they don't want a player injured. So, situation comes up. They could have pinch hit Harper in the ninth inning, down 1 or 2, whatever, tying run at the plate, or go ahead and run at the plate. And Thompson said they don't, and they have Garrett Stubbs hit, who sucks. I mean, that guy is absolutely one of the worst players on the team by far. Backup catcher, that's kind of what you expect. But so then his argument after the game was, hey, we didn't pinch hit there because we wanted Harper to have a full day of rest. Okay, it's one at bat for one thing. It's one at bat. He doesn't have to go out there and take the field. And then on top of that, they had a day off today. Now, and on top of that, you're paying this guy 30 big sheets to play first base. So I get preserving these guys for the postseason, and it's almost like load management for basketball, right? You kind of compare it to that. But my thing is, you're giving him one. Like, if the guy is so fragile, he can't take, or maybe he is playing through an injury, they don't want to admit that. I could see that because he's been playing like garbage in the second half. But let's just say he's 85% healthy. Don't you think you got to at least give yourself, because he didn't play the game, so you're already not giving yourself the best chance to win. On an off day the next day, don't you give him that pinch hit to try and win the game and put your guys in a position to sweep a 4-game series with the Nats, sir?
I mean, it's
I know it's not that big of a deal. It's one game in August, but
right.
It's
I do think that factors in it, is that they are the number one seed in the National League. They are like 20-something games above 500. Like, even if they were to drop one to the Nationals, it's not the end of the world. But I feel like as a manager, if you come out and just say, well, we just want to make sure to give him a full day off, I don't know. It's probably not the best answer. Maybe you could say, like, he came in, a little sore with something, and we felt like we didn't want to push it in any way. Fine. I mean, even if you don't want to disclose the injury, because we know how coaches and managers love being discreet with stuff like that, because for whatever reason, they think people freak out. But it's just like, if you say you didn't put him in because you want to give him a day off, fans will just be like, oh, so he was tired. That's why he couldn't grab a bat and take a couple of swings for you. That's why. And I don't know. It's not a favorable position to be in. And like I said, because the Phillies are where they are in the standings, he can make a decision like that. Nobody's going to necessarily care if, come October, they're in the World Series. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, remember that day in August when you didn't want to put Harper in? Like, what an idiot you are.
I'll give you a counter to that, though. What if Trajan's Brewers find a way to be the number one seed, and it's by one game, you can go back. I mean, yes, there's plenty of games they should have won, and, despite that, but you could say, well, maybe if, Rob Thompson wasn't just vanilla as can be, he would think on his feet and be like, you know what, put Harper, and maybe like how we talk about Boone. I think some of these managers, like the Brewers, probably give Murphy more leeway than, I know for a fact they give him more leeway than Aaron Boone. Like, Aaron Boone is like a robot. Like, they're like, hey, Aaron, they're probably in his earpiece or something. Hey, pull that guy. Okay, I got to pull that guy. Like, maybe the Phillies are run like that. We don't, that's the thing, we don't know behind closed doors. And maybe Thompson would be, like, if he went to the Brewers, he would pull strings like that. But I got to criticize him on the decisions he makes, just because I don't, that's just something that's unknown.
Yeah. I mean, look, it comes with the position. I mean, I had to sit there with, the Grady Little stuff when he kept Pedro in for one batter too many. and they ended up losing a big playoff game. Like, me sitting at home, I was like, it's Pedro Martinez. I mean, sure, I was watching it like clearly he doesn't have, the stuff in was like, I think it was like the sixth inning or something. Like clearly he was getting knocked around. You pull him, but if you go out there and talk to him, Pedro goes, "I got this." I'd find it hard to disagree with Pedro Martinez because of all the great that he's done. But I don't know. It's almost a no-win situation. I mean, even if the Phillies lose the like number one seed by a game or so, you'd also like to think that the Phillies are good enough to win a World Series, even if they had to go on the road to face the Brewers in the NLCS.
I don't know. We'll
I
see.
don't know. Brewers are scrappy. That's you know what the biggest thing.
I'm not saying that they would. I'm just saying like you can't think that the Phillies, like as the manager, you can't think like if we had a Game 7 in Milwaukee NLCS that these guys couldn't get it done. You can't think that way.
They need to get more done after the last couple. I mean, shoot,
Right.
Don't get me started on that. But.
Well, actually, I was looking at some of these other odds and some interesting names on here, like American League Manager of the Year. Who do you think would be the favorite for that one?
Oh, it's gonna be something stupid.
Maybe whoever the
Royals.
Royals manager got to be up there.
I'd say Royals.
He's number 2.
Oh,
Number 1 would be Stephen
Guardians.
Vogt from the Guardians. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to be
that
the
makes sense.
Guardians.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Cora's 3rd, then got Baldelli, Hyde, and Scott Service from the Mariners.
Baldelli, really? I mean,
It's not Dusty Baker anymore, is it? With the Astros?
is it?
Did he retire?
Yeah, I thought he did.
I thought so
Astros.
too.
Actually, who was the Astros?
Joe Espada.
Joe.
Okay.
I almost think the
would say
Mets.
I'd want him up there. I'd put him up there.
Would you guys agree that I think Pat Murphy definitely clears the Mets? What is it, Mendoza? I think he was on the Yankees. He's like a Yankees bench coach, and then he went to the Mets. But he has to be in the running in the end. I mean, what they've done with that Mets team that has like nothing but garbage, pretty much.
Yeah, Mendoza's 4th.
Okay,
He's on the FanDuel. Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
I looked at Rookie of the Year because you did bring that up with Jackson Chourio. He's 3rd according to FanDuel. They have Paul Skeens. They got Jackson Merrill, then Chourio, Tyler Fitzgerald, Imanaga, and Mason Wynn from the Cardinals. For National League, American League, they have Colton Cowser, Austin Wells, Luis Gil, Wilyer Abreu, Cedar Rafael, and Colt Keith from the Tigers.
Cowser holding it down.
Yeah.
Surprising. He's not.
Chris Sale's the favorite for National League Cy Young. Then you got Wheeler, Green, Skeens, Webb, and Dylan Cease. American League, it's Tariq Skubal, then Corbin Burns, Emmanuel Clase, Logan Gilbert, Seth Lugo, Cole Reagans. MVP, Shohei, then Ozuna, Ketel Marte, Francisco Lindor is actually 4th on there. Ellie De La Cruz and Bryce Harper.
Wow.
Then American League, they got Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt, Juan Soto, Gunnar Henderson, Jose Ramirez, and Rafael Devers.
L.A. De La Cruz is a crock. That's all I know. Why he's on any list it baffles me.
He's exciting on the base paths.
Exciting on the base paths. If only that won the Reds more games, huh?
Well, it's the Reds.
Well, it's true.
Yeah. They need Joey Votto back. They need this. They need the heart and soul of that team injected in their veins.
There's probably a lot they could. I mean, they would probably take Ken Griffey back at this point.
At his advanced age.
Yeah.
Still.
I think he's still on the books. They could technically ask him to come out of retirement. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's still getting paid.
If they were in the wild card hunt, I'd be like, come on, just at least reach out. At least
I'm sure he still has that. I'm sure he still has that swing in him. Why not?
Oh, I saw him taking BP.
There. I don't know if the speed's there. The swing's there.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
DH.
Yeah.
We'll play it men's league softball rules. He can swing if he hits a tank. He doesn't have to run the bases.
Yeah, just run, touch first base, and we'll count the rest of it.
Done.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, I mean, those are just some of the odds I saw that were interesting. There was something else I did want to bring up. MLB is kicking around this idea of a mandatory 6 inning rule for starting pitchers. Obviously, there are going to be some not objections, but like caveats to the rule, and like certain things happen. I think it was something like if pitcher gives up 4 runs or hits like 100 pitches or something, you can take them out before. But what do you think about a mandatory 6 inning rule for starting pitchers?
I think it's essentially a dumb rule to try to get rid of openers in baseball games. That's all they're going for. Like, that's it. Like, okay, let's think. I mean, hypothetical. When are you going to pull, let's just say, Zach Wheeler out of a baseball game, right? He hits 100 pitches. We pull Zach Wheeler. He gives up 4+ runs. We pull Zach Wheeler. Like, you're just giving me the common knowledge of when you pull a starting pitcher. Like, that's just how it works. So now we're essentially saying, hey, Milwaukee, because they love to make pitching rules against the Brewers. That's why we have this new bullpen rule where they have to throw to 3 batters. They did that because of Craig Counsell. Because if anybody remembers the 2018 postseason run the Brewers had, they pulled Wade Miley 1 batter into the game. Like, that's just how Craig Counsell rolled. So dumbest decision he's ever made, but that's okay. That's okay. Whatever. So essentially all this rule is doing for me. I don't know if I'm seeing it from a wrong perspective, but they're getting rid of bullpen games. They're getting rid of openers. That's it. That's all they're doing. That's what they're trying to get here. They want you to have 5 starting pitchers, and that's how you got to work it.
Pretty much. So I did look it up to make sure I got it correctly. The instances when a starter would be allowed to leave early might include throwing 100 pitches, giving up 4 or more earned runs, or obviously if he gets injured.
The reasons why you pull a starting pitcher out of a baseball game. Like, I don't know. You give up 2 runs, that's a quality. Like, 3 runs is a quality start. So you give up 3 runs as a quality start, you're not pulling a guy, but he gives up 4+, you're pulling him. Like, that's just how it works. So I guess it's kind of an open-ended rule that essentially has nothing to do with starting pitchers outside of the fact of they want starting pitchers to actually pitch. That's all they're asking for right now. They want to avoid openers and bullpen games. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of thought, like, if pitching is, such an issue or whatever, how come teams haven't gone 6-man rotation? And yes, I know a lot of these teams, it's hard enough for them to put 5 guys out there in a rotation. Now to ask them to get a 6th, like, you might be asking for trouble. But it's just like, why not? You have some of these young pitchers that will get pulled after like 4 2/3 because, they have innings limits and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like I get it. Then I don't, because then you'll hear about like some old baseball fan who will be like, I remember when pitchers used to throw 300 innings, and it's just like, well, that's all well and good. Like, how long do those guys pitch? I'm like, I don't know. And it just seems like there's so much analytics and numbers behind a lot of these decisions that I don't know. Maybe baseball is trying to make it more of a natural thing. Like, you go to the ballpark and you see whether it's like a Zach Wheeler or something, you like, okay, he's going 6 innings. I don't have to worry about, first sign of trouble in the 5th, manager coming out to pull him for no reason. Like, let him work through it. He's one of your top paid pitchers. Let him prove why he is one of them. So I guess I see it from that end. And yes, those bullpen games are annoying. I've seen the Red Sox do it. Like, they'll throw, I think there was a game against the Orioles. They had Bernardino start. He threw to 1 guy. No, he had to throw 3, but he threw like the first inning, and then he was done. And then the next guy came in, threw like 2 innings, and another guy came in, and it was just like, the bullpen's bad enough as is. The fact they had a whole game, just bullpen guys, you could probably guess they lost that game because, like I said, the bullpen's been a mess right now. But I mean, I guess I see what they're trying to do. I don't know. I think baseball probably, I don't know, because it's baseball. Like, they find weird things to harp on. And look, this might be something we don't even hear about until like 2040 or something. And then they'll be like, hey, remember that 6-inning rule we were talking about? Yeah, we're going to implement it now. By then, most people won't even care anymore.
I
I
just
mean,
think
they
it's
were like,
like
what?
a not needed thing. I just think it's a not needed thing. Like,
Yeah,
oh, but I get bullpen games can be frustrating, but at the same time, it's still a baseball game. Like, I don't care
yeah.
if my closer starts the game. Like, okay, yes, I'm gonna get a little irritated. Why the heck is Devin Williams out there in the first inning?
Mhm.
But like, it doesn't really matter to me. The baseball game's gonna go the same way. It's just you're gonna see more pitchers. Like, I don't care. Like, I
Yeah.
think honestly, you look at the Brewers, why they use openers. Bryce Wilson sucks in the first inning. That's why they used openers. He was statistically terrible in the first inning. So they would throw an opener in there. He would go for the first inning, and then Bryce Wilson would come in the second, and he'd throw 6 innings. Or Colin Ray. I mean, we all look at Colin Ray. He's, I believe, 10-3 on the season. So, or he might be better than that now. I'd have to look at his stats. He might be actually worse than that. 11-4. He's 11-4 on the year. I mean, pretty good record there, but they used an opener for him. Why? He was statistically bad in the first couple innings, so they tried an opener for him a couple times. Like, I think it's managers using analytics, and that's what you want out of these guys is them to give you the best possible outcome in the baseball game for them. I don't know. Would making a starting pitcher have to go 6 innings, would that actually benefit the game? I don't think so. Because if I'm sitting here as the Brewers with Frankie Montas, who is getting a little bit older, Frankie's only good for about 4 innings. Would I want to sit here and say I have to throw Frankie 6 innings? No. Like that's not going to make the game better. That's just going to make I don't even know what it does. I honestly don't know what it does. If Frankie's pitching a good game through 4 innings and he's got 60-some pitches and I don't want to throw him anymore and I think he's starting to lose it, I'm good with pulling him. Because some pitchers actually stink when it comes to look at Garrett Cole against Rafael Devers in the 3rd at bat. Would you want to be in the 6th inning facing Rafael Devers with Garrett Cole with no ability to be able to pull him out, even though it's probably going to end up being a home run? Like, I wouldn't want to be in that situation. So I think it's actually, to me, honestly, I don't like that. I got to be honest with you. I don't like that. The new proposition that they're coming up with, just because I think there's a lot of ways that it could actually hurt the game analytically, and you take it out of the manager's hands too. I like when managers are playing a chess game out there sometimes with pitchers. You're kind of taking that out of their hands now, because it's like now you're getting that, well, what if the Rays didn't pull Blake Snell early in that? Was it the ALCS they pulled Blake Snell early? Or was it the World Series? I thought it might have been the World Series there. They pulled him early in that one. I think it might have been the World Series that they pulled him early out of that game.
Been.
It was like game 6.
I think it was.
And they pulled him out way early in that one. I mean, yes, it didn't end up being well. Honestly, they should have left him in and they probably would have won that game. But I mean, you take it out of the manager's hand, just like we're talking about with umpires taking out the human error. You can do that, but now you're taking it, almost out of the manager's hands. So at what point do we add so many rules in where it's no longer a chess match? It's kind of like a forced hand. Like, you have to play this.
Yeah. And from Major League Baseball, this is kind of like the reasoning behind it. The primary goal of the innings rule would be to immediately restore the prestige of the starting pitcher. Fans would be able to tune into a game knowing that he would be on the mound for the majority of it.
Oh my god!
I guess
really, like that's their selling point. Like and like Trajan said, like what if I don't know, because I tried to go with this. I tried to go, okay, are they doing it for injury concerns? Because like everybody's getting, but now you're forcing guys like Wheeler, like who's another guy that gets up to 100. Like I mean, we talk about
Verlander,
but he like
they
Cole.
They get
Cole's
gas.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know that more than me, but like Cole is a guy that's constantly throwing 100, right? Like, and he's gotten injured this year, so it's like now you're forcing. And as much as I don't want the Yankees to win, I don't want them to lose because of injury. It's like, okay, maybe we don't care, but it's like you're forcing a guy to go out there and give you what if he's getting lit up? What if it's like I guess at the 4 run, it's whatever happened first.
Like constant traffic, right? He loads the bases up every inning, but works his way out of it with 2 runs.
Right, and or
you're
like
still getting gassed.
And like, I wonder if a little caveat to that rule is like if he's given up 4, but then he leaves the game with the bases loaded, like those are his runner, he's responsible, and then the next guy comes in, gives up, a grand slam. Now he's given up set. Like, does that or is it like 4 runs? You know what I mean? Now you're kind of splitting hairs, but yeah, I mean to
No,
restore
it said 4 earned runs, so
I mean,
he'd have to
technically
give them up before.
he's on the hook for those if something happens, right? But like
Yep.
to restore the prestige of the number 5th starter on the White Sox, like it was that like I can give you a million different arguments against that. You know, like that doesn't necessarily make any sense to me.
The 2 or 3 fans that are tuning in to watch him, they would care. Okay,
That's
what
maybe we got to
baseball's
cater to
all
them
about.
then. Maybe that's what it.
I mean, I don't want to disrespect the White Sox like that. So.
They're going through enough. You don't gotta.
Yeah, they got Benintendi who was supposed to save them, and look at him. He's whatever. The White Sox did beat the Yankees. Was that last week?
Yeah,
earlier this week. Yeah, last week they did. So
and like their whole stadium was Yankee. Like it was 99% Yankee. Like it was probably their biggest crowd of the year I don't even know what they call that, but
I don't even know what they
Loan
call the
Deposit
ballpark
Field
anymore.
or something like something weird. But yeah, I felt bad for those players though because like nobody's cheering for them and everybody's cheering for the Yankees. Like that's just that's depression. Like that is pure depression right there.
Yeah, then like the next night, it wasn't the next night when Judge got his 300th home run or whatever, and yeah, it is what it is. Let's see, they play a guaranteed rate field. Okay, I didn't know. I forgot that was the name, but I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. Like I get why they want to do it. The whole prestige of the starting pitcher thing, like that seems a little weird.
The dumbest thing.
I mean, every offseason we see starting pitchers get plenty of money. I think that's a prestige enough for fans to go, oh, that's a really good pitcher. I didn't know, but look at how much he's getting. He must be pretty good. I don't need to sit there and tune in and go, oh, he's starting. He's going 6 innings. He must be a starting pitcher. Like, yeah, obviously he is. Like,
yep.
Well,
we're not what happens if you get into a situation? What if this guy gets sick before the game? I mean, it's before the game, but he's sick on the road trip. He's sick. Now what do? You're going to ask teams to either hey, AAA team, you guys are across the country from us right now, but hey, can you send this guy all the way over to us here in LA? I know you guys are in Florida, but can you send this guy all the way to LA here? He's got to start tomorrow night. Like, are you going to force teams to do that? Or are you going to be like, okay, hey, I know your guy is sick. Let's let you have a bullpen game today. Because you look at a lot of bullpen games, why do they happen? Starters get injured. Starters are, sick, whatever it is. They can't go. I want my starter to have the ability where if he comes into the dugout, just imagine if Jacob deGrom's actually healthy. I know. Imagine it. Sit down, close your eyes, imagine it for 5 seconds. But if he comes in the dugout and he tells me, hey, Skip, I'm gassed. Like, I'm done for the day. It's the 4th inning. I've given you, there's only 2 runs on the board, but I'm gassed. I really don't have anything left in my arm. Am I going to really have to risk injury with Jacob deGrom because I know this guy gets hurt? Like he walks. He like Aaron says, he gets out of the car, he trips, he falls, he breaks his leg. Like, it's just how it goes with Jacob deGrom. It's just so simple for him to get hurt. It's easier for him to get hurt than it is for him to pitch, and he's a natural born pitcher. Like, that's just crazy. But I don't want to be forced as a manager to tell Jacob deGrom, like, sorry, dude, new rules. You got to go back out there. Like, that would suck. Yeah. Because then let's just say Jacob deGrom goes back out there, blows his elbow out in the next inning. He told me his elbow wasn't feeling good, and you can't just, okay, then what's the stipulation? He's injured, right? Am I just going to claim he's injured? Like, do I have to? Is there any stipulations that? Because I could just come into the dugout and say, yep, he's injured. He's fatigued. He's injured. But then
MLB has thought about that. MLB
they think about everything. Shut up. I'm done.
I was looking more into it. If he gets injured, there is a required injury list stint.
See, so you can't even that is
you can't even fake it.
Can't do it. I had to deal with the pitch clock. I had to deal with all that crap. I can't deal with this. Like, that would just be, imagine it. You're the Red Sox or you're the Phillies and Aaron Nola or no, you don't have Chris Sale anymore. I'm trying to think of a pitcher off of. Give me a good pitcher off the Red Sox.
Tanner Houck.
Or who's the other guy? Cutter Crawford.
Yeah, Cutter
he
Crawford.
Walks into my dugout and he says, Skip, I'm gassed. My elbow hurts. I ain't got nothing left. I got to throw him on the IL if I take him out. So I'm like, dude, you got to pitch. He goes back in, blows out his shoulder. He's out for the year now. I could have avoided that by letting him come out, get my bullpen heated up and ready to rock, but I can't avoid that anymore. I think there's too many problems with this. You want to, like Aaron was mentioning, you mentioned pitching injuries before. This is prime example. This is what's going to cause more. This will cause more. I guarantee it. I get it. Everybody's going to tell me, well, they're paid to pitch. They should be able to pitch. I get it. But you got to think about the violent motion that a pitcher goes through when they throw a baseball. It's not just tossing it in the yard with the kid. There is so much. I mean, I'm watching Matthews pitch for the Twins right now. There is so much torque and everything that goes onto a body when you throw a pitch. If you're not feeling it, that day, it could lead to problems. If something ain't loose, if something ain't feeling right, it could lead to problems. What if you get late in the year and now you got to throw a guy in the IL because you pulled him out because you didn't want him to blow out his elbow? And that next start, you got to avoid him because, well, he's on the IL now. It's just, there's so many different things that could go wrong with this. I am not a fan. The more I think about it, I'm not a fan of it.
Telling you, they'll debate it. I'm telling you, all the older fans will be like, because I had to look this up once again, but it's like they'll come back with Nolan Ryan threw 235 pitches in one game. You tell me guys can't go 6 innings now? Yeah, Nolan Ryan was a freak, okay?
We're soft now, all right? We're soft. Everybody's soft now. Nolan Ryan was a dog. Randy Johnson was a dog. He killed a bird. Like, Randy Johnson killed a bird throwing a pitch. Like, those guys were different. We're in a different it's like it's the NBA to today's NBA. It's the NFL to today's NFL. It's the old baseball to today's baseball. Yes, the games might be more exciting, faster. Guys might be shooting more threes, whatever it is. But guess what? Those dudes back then were tougher than today's guys. And that's just plain and simple. Like, nobody can tell me there's a dude today that's tougher than those guys from the past in that same sport. I can't do it. I wouldn't be able to name a guy.
Yeah.
Ripken. Ripken playing consecutive games. Tell me a guy today who's going to do that. Who's going to do that? Nobody.
We need an off day. Well, what's
Anthony
funny
Rendon might. He might come back from injury and he might catch up with all them games.
What I did hear, and it's like nobody else would care, but like Nick Castellanos has like never asked for a day off. And I'm in my head, I'm like, dude, there's been plenty of stretches this year. You should be taking a week off. I mean, you should be taking a month. Maybe you should fly out of the country for a week. Like, you don't know how to swing at a strike, and you swing at everything outside of the zone. But
we didn't even know you were playing. Like, we didn't know you were out there.
Just because you're playing every day, that doesn't mean it's a good thing. But
you're just a placeholder.
It's like, you're exactly like. I mean, even I remember Eli Manning, different sport, obviously, but Eli Manning would like never. I think the only reason he missed the game was like they benched him, and I was like, that's kind of messed up. Like, I get it, you got to give yourself the best chance to win, but like that guy's at least let him give him the first drive. You know what I mean? Just to give him that game. But yeah, do these guys like really? And we're always talked about like, we're taught. Keep these guys fresh to the postseason. Keep them fresh and it's like I get it, but like Cal Ripken did it. There's other guys. Like there's been other. I can't think in base. Maybe Yadier Molina. I feel like he played a ton of games. Like all the time. He never missed games.
Jeter played a lot of games.
Jeter, yeah. Like there's guys all over, and like, I mean that my argument to that too is like if you like the Eagles are coddling all like Jalen Hurts hasn't played in the postseason. I mean hasn't played in the preseason. My bad. Like, okay, what if week 1 he goes out there and gets killed by somebody in the past, like, broken collarbone? It's like, okay, well, like it can have you're playing. It's all these sport at any given time. You could tear your Tommy. You could have Tommy John. You could have like Bryce Harper had Tommy John. And he's a position player. Like the fact that like they're coddling these guys is a little like I get a day off here and there, but like that example I gave you guys earlier, we're not going to give him an at bat in the 9th inning to win a game because. Oh, he needs a full day off. Dude, it's still a full day off. It's one at bat. Like it's an at bat we're talking about. I just don't this is the way sports are now, but it's a little bit like I don't know. It's a little too much coddling going on with these guys.
Yeah. I mean, there are actual players that have played every game this year because I once again looked that up as well. Like Pete Alonso, Lindor, Bobby
Wow.
Witt, Willie Adames.
Willie Adames is
He's played every game.
Yep.
Castellanos, who said, I think even Vlad Guerrero, I think he's only missed one game.
Slack.
Gunnar Henderson, Matt Olson, Azuna, Simeon. Yeah, there's a lot of games who have played. A lot of guys who have played basically every game so far this year.
Willie Adames and Contreras, they tried benching him for a game. Pat Murphy was going to sit him. It was like a Sunday game. And they walked into his office, told him they were pissed. They walked in pissed off. And they said, "You're playing us today. Like, find a way to put us in there." And they walked out, and he's like, "I have to think about it." And he walked out, and then all of a sudden they were on the lineup card. So he was going to sit him. He tried to sit him, but Contreras and Adames told him, "No way. No way you're sitting us. Like, we're playing. I don't care if we're DHing. I don't care where you put us. We're playing today." Like, those are the guys I want. Those are the guys that I want on my roster. They just set a tone. I mean, especially with a young team like the Brewers, they set a tone. You know, even if they're struggling at the plate or anything like that, they set that tone, that narrative. Like, we're out there every day. You can give us it every day, too. Same with Castellanos. Like, he's stinking. I get that. But you look at the young guys on that roster, they see a guy like that who's playing every single day. It sets a narrative of what you want to get to when you get to that, you know, experience level up there at the next stop.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah,
Even though he stinks.
definitely.
Even though Castellanos has stunk.
Except when something bad happens, he just takes somebody.
Oh my, that is just pitiful. Like that. Oh, I love when I go. I don't love it. I don't love it, but it makes me laugh when I go through my phone and I'm like, "Are you freak? Not again. Not again." Like,
Yeah.
And a
like,
drive.
I'm very sorry for saying those words here. And a drive to deep left, and that one is gone. I probably will not talk to you guys again because I will be fired. But there's a drive to deep left, and it's like,
Right on cue. And it's happened like so many. There's even on the police, he's done it
so
like on
weird.
the. I forget, they were talking about somebody that passed away. I think it was like somebody in the organization's
wasn't
wife
it
or
Willie
something.
Mays when Willie Mays passed
Willie
away?
Mays
Like
was
that,
another
he hit a
one, yeah.
bomb. Like that was like, are you serious? Like World War III could start and it'd be like, "I'm sorry to announce to Americans right now, but World War III, and there's a drive to deep left. And Castellanos has tied the game.
It's
World
all
War
right.
III has started, and we're all going to war. And there's another drive to deep left, and that one is gone."
Castellanos with 4 home runs today. Like it just would be like, yep, of course.
Put him in the home run derby. Put him in the home run derby. Can you imagine? Every home run he hits, the guy is trying to give some kind of sad news, like some kind of sad news. And it's like, boom, 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 boom. He can't even get through the whole sentence. And it's like 7 home runs later.
Wins by record margin. Just like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
It's taken me 30 minutes, but I've finally gotten through 2 sentences about what's going on in the world right now. Oh,
Right.
it's bad, but it's funny. It's terrible, but it's great. I mean, it's not great. It's not great, but it's like,
Right.
oh, how can you be that unlucky but lucky at the same time? Like,
It's
holy crap.
Right. The amount of players that are in the league, and it's just this one guy. Yeah, it's just
Phillies
so weird.
broadcasters should go through like the world tragic news of that day, like the tragic news from the world news, and just go through it all when Nick Castellanos is up to bat, because it is guaranteed he's going to hit a nuke. Like he could probably hit 160 bombs in a year. Like just go completely bananas with it.
it's almost like he has an earpiece of like the game cast, like the broad, and he's like, "Oh, something bad's happening." Bang! Like I'm gonna really zone in here. Like,
How did the Brewers lose Game 7 of the NLCS to the Phillies? Well, they had an earpiece in Nick Castellanos. No, they weren't cheating. They were telling him tragic world news. And for some reason, he hit a bomb. The ball bounced. I don't know what happened. The ball bounced 7 feet in front of home plate. He swung. It was a terrible swing. He didn't know what a strike was, and he still hit a tank.
just clears the wall.
Just clears it. Hit the scoreboard, broke the scoreboard out in center field. It was ridiculous.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's baseball. Weird things like that happen all the time. So I was looking. I guess maybe the last thing I have is looking at the MLB.com. They did their power rankings, their top teams. So I was just gonna go ahead and run through them and then get your thoughts on their list. So right now, power rankings, number 1, they have the Phillies. I mean, makes sense. We probably wouldn't disagree with that. Second best team, the New York Yankees. Sure. Sitting at number 3, they have the Orioles, who last week were number 1. They're number 3 this week. Then the Dodgers at 4, the Guardians at 5, the Brewers are number 6, the Twins are number 7, Padres number 8, the Astros are number 9, the Diamondbacks are number 10, and they have the Royals at 11. It keeps going from there. Hold on. What happened there? 11. Who's 12? All right, 12, the Braves, 13 of the Red Sox, Mets 14, and yeah, Mariners 15. Then let's go to the bottom 3. Who do they have as the 3 worst teams? White Sox obviously are number 30, Marlins 29, and the Rockies are 28.
Wow. That's rough at the bottom stretch there.
That's real rough.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my only thing, okay, these power rankings, they just baffle me because the Brewers and Guardians have the same exact record now, but the Brewers just took care of the Guardians in a 3-game sweep before this power ranking came out. So I don't understand how they're behind them there. Plus, the Orioles just went 5-5 last week as the Brewers are going 7-3 over the last 10. Orioles are 5-5 in the last 10. I don't know how they make the power rankings, to be honest with you. It really confuses me because you look at those top, the top 6 are right where they should be. It's just, you look at the overall rankings in baseball record-wise, who was hot last week, who wasn't hot last week. It kind of puts into question, do I think the Orioles have had an all-around better? I don't know. There's no issues with it. It's just a power ranking. Who cares? It's some dippy putting together a list. Like, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. I just want to know how they really factor it, because the Brewers just swept the Guardians in their only head-to-head so far, and yet they're behind them in power rankings.
It's definitely a good point, because even the write-up on the Guardians, it probably would feed more into your argument, because they basically said like the Guardians are causing whiplash because since July 10th, they lost 7 out of 9, then they won 8 out of 10, then they lost 7 straight, then they won 5 straight, and they've currently lost 3 straight.
Talk about streak. That's some streak.
All right. So they are the epitome of streaky baseball team, but they are rated ahead of the Brewers. And even the write-up on the Brewers, it's like the Brewers are now 20 games over 500. And, oh, yeah, in case you forgot, they lost their manager, Craig Counsell, their ace, Corbin Burns, been ravaged by injuries. They just lost Yelich, who was out for the year. Remember last year's 92-win Central winning team, the one that had all those players. This one is clearly better.
They're on pace to actually they could set the franchise record for wins in a season with a team that was supposed to finish 4th in the division. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy, right? Like I said, it's power rankings. It doesn't really mean a lot, but I guess if I was going to make my power rankings, like the Phillies are first. I would actually take the Dodgers over the Yankees last week, because if I'm putting perspective of last week, Dodgers 7-3 in their last 10, Yankees 5-5. I don't know how that spread apart last week as a whole, but looking at the two, I'd go Phillies, Dodgers, then Yankees, then Brewers, then Guardians. I would put the Orioles down in that 5-6 range in the rankings right now, 5-5 in their last 10 games. They haven't been doing anything crazy as of late. I think you could fluctuate. Like I said, power rankings don't mean it. I think you could fluctuate that middle half with the Guardians, the Brewers, and the Orioles. I think you can move them around each other. Because actually, if you look head-to-head, Brewers versus Orioles, Brewers versus Guardians, a sweep of the Guardians, the Brewers have the series over the Orioles on the season right now. So if you wanted to go grand scheme of things, power rankings, I don't know how you don't say that the Brewers actually would be ahead of those two teams as of right now. I just bashed the Orioles for Aaron here to follow it.
That's fine. That's I'm used to the haterade, but the whole thing, but I think Trajan hit on that really well though. Is it are they projecting these the Phillies are the best team? They haven't played the best lately, but they're the best overall team. That always confuses me too, because if you're looking recency bias, you could make an argument the Brewers are the number 1 team. They went in and swept the Guardians. The Phillies have been faltering. I mean, yeah, they played better lately, but out of before, like I think it was last week or the last 7 games, they had the second worst second half record, and the only team that was worse was the White Sox. So, I mean, if you're looking at recency bias, you could say the Phillies are like the 10th best team because yes, they still have the great record, but they played absolutely horrible. Like that always confuses me too. Like even in the NFL, NFL power rankings, the Bills won 2 straight games, so now they're first, and then the Patriots have lost 2 out of 3, but yet they have a better record, but they're forced. It's just like that always did kind of throw a wrench in it. Like I appreciate the fact that they do it, and it's a good thing to talk about. What is their formula though? Like what is their, how do they come up with Brewers or this, Phillies or that, Orioles or that, Yankees or that? Like what?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a bunch of different things that are combined.
Let's see. How do they have it here? Okay, so this is from MLB.com. These rankings are compiled from rankings from MLB.com contributors whose names you can find at the bottom of the article, blah, blah, blah. It's their words. If you dislike the rankings, yell at all of them. So they have like a panel of guys, and I guess they
yell at them.
Each rank the teams, and then they, I guess, average them out to decide where everybody kind of sits.
It's just guys like there's a Brewers fan, there's a Philly, like, they're all just fans, and they're like, this team's better, like my team's better than my team. Like they're just sitting around like.
Apparently, the Brewer guy isn't doing very well because we've been 6th in the power rankings for like 7 weeks straight. Like we haven't moved from 6th.
There's like 5 Brewer guys. There's like 20 Phillies guys. Like the numbers are just skewed. Like
it's just we have been 6th consistently. Like I think I've got a screenshot of power rankings over the week somewhere. I'd have to look for a while, but it's like we have been 6th. Mm-hmm. It's almost like take it to the bank. Like take it to the bank on that one. Like the Packers over under for this year for wins, like 9. Is it 9 or 9.5? Are you kidding me right now? Like I'm gonna take that to Vegas and tell them put my house on it because they're gonna win over 9.5 games. Come on.
So it looks like they have 13 guys who vote on the MLB.com poll.
Jeez.
Odd number.
They all stink.
Yeah.
I'd put the White Sox above the Rockies. The Rockies suck.
Let's see. I will see if the ESPN had one, but they actually have an interesting article.
I should be on the panel. Be like every week, be that one guy who's like, I want the Rockies to be 28th. Like, just throw them in there. Like, just throw them up. Throw them up. And then, like, let's put the Oakland A's above the Cubs for a day, and let's just see how many people get rattled. Like, the Cubs stink. Like, they're probably probably 20th on the 25th on the list. Like, let's throw the Angels above the Cubs and see how many Cubs fans notice. Like, let's just do that. Like, I'd be that kind of guy.
Actually, I can tell you, the Cubs were.
They gotta be low.
They were. I'm trying to think if they were 22 or something. Hold on. No, they're actually 18th.
Are you?
They're ahead of the Rays. The Rays are 19. Cubs are 18.
They're 11th to last in record in the MLB. They're below the Rays. The Rays aren't that bad. They're below the Detroit Tigers.
Yep, Tigers are 21.
Well, that is
the Cardinals are 17th, right ahead of the Cubs.
This whole power ranking stupid. This whole thing is dumb. Let's be done with it. It's like that 6 inning rule. We're just done with it now. Move on.
So like I was saying, ESPN, I was on there. They have an interesting list of players who are underrated and overrated, and I guess they're like, we now know who they are. So I'll give you some of the names on there, and you let me know if any name stands out to you. So these are the 10 players that ESPN.com has said are underrated.
Underrated.
Ian Happ, Brian Reynolds of the Pirates, Ian Happ of the Cubs, J.P. Crawford from the Mariners, Brandon Nimmo of the Mets, Ha-Sung Kim from the Padres, Christian Walker from the Diamondbacks, Nico Hoerner from the Cubs, Dalton Varsho from the Blue Jays, Willy Adames from the Brewers, Matt Chapman from the Giants, and Ketel Marte are the Most
you
underrated
kidding me
players.
already? Underrated? He got into the All-Star game.
That's Trajan's favorite player. Like we can never get around that guy. Like it's
No, he's just right there. He's like the freaking traffic cone that stopped me from getting down the street. Ian Happ's batting a whole whopping 232 this season. I mean, so if that's underrated to ESPN, I guess. Like he's home runs, 22 home runs, 69. So he's RBI guy. He's your RBI guy. I guess if that's underrated to ESPN, sure, that's fantastic. Nico Horner, you said he was on there too?
Yep.
I mean, he's batting a whole whopping 254 with 5 home runs and 36 RBIs. Underrated, I guess.
I
What
give
are they
Brian
getting him
Reynolds.
out of?
I'll give Brian Reynolds.
Yes.
Because first of all, he has no lineup protection, or like you can literally like pitch him incredibly difficult, and like probably guys. I mean, yeah, they try and get him out. He's not like a superstar, but like 281, 19 home runs, 69 RBIs, 809 OPS. Like on a team that has nobody to kind of help him. Like you put him on you put him on the Dodgers, he might hit 300. Like I wouldn't be shocked, like as a second tier player on a really good team, like he might be. And to his credit, like I like guys. He got drafted there, and then he signs the long-term deal, so I respect it. It's just like, you kind of flush your career down the drain probably, but as far as success goes, but like he's always been a kind of solid under the radar. And then Christian Walker, like absolute all-star snub, like ridiculous.
Ketel Marte is just a stupid one. How is that the dude's batting 298? How is that underrated?
Okay, so
like, how are we underrating this guy?
It seems like what they did was they named 10 guys and then they put Ketel Marte in his own category. I'm trying to figure out if they're trying to say like Ketel Marte is like the middle ground. So the 10 guys I named before him are the underrated, and then they have 5 who are overrated, and Ketel Marte is just his own category. I'm trying to figure out why they did that with him, but yeah, he's just his own thing. So the 5 who are overrated: Mike Trout, Teoscar Hernandez, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Paul Goldschmidt,
Aaron is just fuming,
and Manny Machado.
Machado sucks. Yeah, I can agree with that one. The Mike Trout one baffles me because why is ESPN taking shots at Mike Trout? He's been out all year. Like that's like, give me somebody who's actually playing the game of baseball right now. Like Mike Trout ain't even out there. Teoscar Hernandez, I don't know how they overrate. Like nobody's really. I don't look at the Dodgers and I say Teoscar Hernandez is that dude for the Dodgers. Like he's just that middle ground guy on the Dodgers. This list baffles me. Like it's just ridiculous. Like where are they? Teoscar Hernandez. Like I don't think about him when I go to sleep at night. Like Teoscar Hernandez isn't that kind of guy for me. Mm-hmm. Like Mike Trout doesn't bother me right now. He ain't playing. How is he overrated? Manny Machado. I could see Manny Machado being on there. Like a lot of people still think he's that guy, but he's not. He's not that good. Who was the other one? Paul Goldschmidt.
Yep.
Yeah, Paul. Like nobody really expects much out of Paul Goldschmidt right now. Like I don't understand. Like I would say an overrated person for me is someone that they talk about all the time, like Elly De La Cruz. Like I think Elly De La Cruz is overrated. He's got the speed. He's got the athleticism. He's got the flash out on the base paths, but watch his glove sometime. The dude is he's got a terrible throwing arm. He's so inaccurate. The ball's going to sail on him every once in a while. He's like Javier Baez. Like my favorite thing was to watch the Javier Baez reel where it's like F it, Javier Baez highlights. And he throws that one over Anthony Rizzo's head that goes like, would have hit the second deck in American Family Field. Like those are the ones I love to watch. But Ellie's got he's got a wild arm. He strikes out a lot. Like there's things to like about Elly, but there also is those bad things, the strikeouts, everything like that come along with it. Those are my overrated guys. I don't understand their overrated list because nobody's sitting here talking about Paul Goldschmidt all the time. Like I don't think anybody's overrating Paul Goldschmidt. I just think Paul Goldschmidt's kind of there in St. Louis right now. Nobody's really saying, "Oh, Paul Goldschmidt's doing like he finally got a hit." Ooh, like nobody cares. Nobody's really watching that close. So I don't know. I guess this overrated list just it's kind of stupid. Besides,
So they
besides
so
Manny
they did
Machado.
explain
Besides Machado.
they did explain where the rating comes from. So what I'm gathering is that they're taking it from so they said they took only position players, of course, not they didn't do any pitchers. They did it based off a player's reputation. They had to have a minimum of 11 WAR over the past 4 seasons, blah, blah, blah. Then rated each player for performance using analytics, and then they use a support rating based on all-star balloting, I guess like fan favorites type of things. And then they came with a disparaging number between popularity and their actual performance. So then based on that gap, they came with overrated and underrated. That's how they did it.
Paul Goldschmidt is having a down year and Mike Trout's hurt. Like, why is everybody shitting on these two guys? Like, Paul Goldschmidt's getting old. He had to decline at some point. Like, come on. Like, I get the Manny Machado, I guess. Like, everybody talks about him like he's still this Orioles player that we remember when he was lighting the world on fire, but he's not that guy anymore. Like, even I can say Manny Machado isn't the same guy as when he got to the Padres, he wasn't that same guy. So I get it, but it's also like, I guess I've never really. I don't see those guys as being that. Besides Machado, because I still think a lot of people, like fans, still expect a lot out of him. The rest of them are kind of like, I mean, fans aren't expecting Teoscar Hernandez to lead the Dodgers to the World Series. Like, they want Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani. Like, that's their guys who are going to take them to the World Series. Cardinals aren't expecting a whole lot out of Paul Goldschmidt anymore. Like, they are getting what they're getting. Like, I don't know. It's odd. That's an odd list.
Who was like the first couple again? Like 1 through 6. Like, I'm just trying to.
So so if I think to read the little paragraph on Machado, I maybe describes the rankings a little bit for you. As Jory put, it's a brain soup to create a list. So basically, the reason why Machado is on the overrated side, they said if you look at his performance this year, he's on pace to have one of his worst big league seasons in a lot of categories. And they said, like, despite him being down this year, he finished second in fan voting at third base. So they're saying, like, the performance and his support, as they called it, with the fan ballot voting don't match, and that the disparity points is -7, which makes him one of the more overrated players in the game.
Okay, like, I don't like Manny Machado at all, but he's still batting .271. He's fourth in average of all third basemen in the entire league. Like, he's solid. Like he's not having his best year, but it's still not a bad. Like, I can go through a list of guys who are having a worse year. I mean, you're mentioning Nick Castellanos. What's he on pace for right now? Probably not so well, right? Probably one of his worst seasons. And yet we're not putting Nick Castellanos on this list.
You can make an argument that Machado's been a top 3. I would say top 3 third baseman almost every. Like, he's in that conversation. Like, he's that good. Like, he'll probably be a Hall of Famer in my opinion. Like, if he continues on like 4 or 5 more years, let's just say.
279 career batting average, 1,000 RBIs, over 300 home runs.
Yeah,
almost 2,000 hits. He's got 1,859 right now.
He's like, he gets love, but then he's on the Padres. Like, you can only do so much. Like, unless the Padres
personality. It's the personality that puts him down.
But like, you bring up a guy like Castellanos on the Reds was like a different guy. Like,
and the Tigers. Don't forget about the Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers too, but like the Phillies, Castellanos is like the Wish version. It's like he's half there. Like he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, I mean, if you look at like, he came over from the Reds and like 2022 was his first Phillies season. He went from he had 100 RBIs with the Reds and 309 batting average 62 RBIs to 263. I mean, that is like falling off an absolute cliff. Down 40 RBIs and down 40 batting percentage points, give or take. Like, that's a guy that I don't know if, and like last season, I mean, you can make the argument he hit 272, 106 RBIs. Like, you take those RBIs all day, but like he hasn't. I mean, on the Cubs in 51 games, which half a season, whatever, but 321, 298, 285. Like, he hasn't really. This year he's hitting 250, and like for a while he was hitting in the 220 range. So that's a guy that he made a change to a different team, and he is not. And I thought it was like one of the best things he could have done, because I mean, you have guys all throughout this lineup that can hit, and maybe it's just not meant, like, mentally he's not in it because of Philadelphia. Like, there's so many different aspects of his game that aren't the same. I'll say that. So I don't know. I mean, you could definitely put Castellanos. I would take Castellanos on this list before Machado for sure. But I don't know how much people really care about Castellanos' name anymore. Like, he's whatever. He's back page.
And I think that's kind of where this writer on ESPN was trying to go with it, is that, yeah, Castellanos may be having a down season, but I feel like probably didn't factor in because Castellanos may not be a household name anymore or a popular guy. Like, Machado's a pretty popular guy. He's just trying to say, like, if you look at his numbers, especially this year, he probably shouldn't be as popular as he is amongst fans. I mean, look, it's a metric. It's something to talk about. I don't think there's really any perfect way to decide who's overrated and who's underrated. Because look, if I said next week the three of us are going to do our top 5 list of overrated and underrated players, we would probably have 3 different lists, because the way you may view overrated, I'll view it much differently, because you may expect one thing out of a certain player. I look at that same player, I'm like, yeah, they stink this year because I think they stink. You may say they're having a down year, but I think they're a much better player than that. So the fact that they tried, I guess, some kind of metric to come up with it, it was never going to be a perfect list. Like, come on. If I'm going to say overrated players, I'd put the whole Yankees team on there because they're just overrated anyway, but that's just me.
I got your splits for Nick Castellanos. I found his problem. First off, It's road games. He's batting 232 on the road. He's batting 268 at home. So home games are better for Castellanos. Now, against lefties, he's batting 279. Against righties, he's batting 240. Okay. Day games, he's batting 299. Night games, he's batting 223. So if we get Nick Castellanos against a lefty at home in a day game, he is guaranteed to hit you about 350. Like, that is just take it to the bank. Like, this dude is gonna hit. Like, that is the craziest split of stats I have seen, that I've actually stared at for a long time and looked at and said, wow, like, craziness right there. I mean, we could probably go through a lot of guys and find those stats, but to see the difference between him during day games and night games is 299 to 223. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, usually home and road.
You need to call the Phillies and tell them play more day games.
Yeah.
Like, somehow, some way, all day games. Like, no more night games. We're playing at 110 every day. Like, that's just how it works.
They trot out those. I mean, I'll take those cream colored jerseys over. I mean, every day game they have at home, it's those cream. Like, whenever they, like, Friday nights, they pull out those softball. I mean, they look like they were made at Goodwill. I mean, those things are just the City Connect.
I don't have that one up where jerseys affect the bag.
I mean,
I don't have that one.
Anybody that performs in that City Connect jersey, I gotta get you on a trade block. Like, that jersey is terrible.
Hold on, I got one more. As the DH,
I was about to say, maybe what they need to do is take their lights, get a brighter bulb, make it look like a day game just to trick Castellanos.
That would work. Okay, 1-2 counts are dangerous for Castellanos. He's batting 113 in 1-2 counts. In 2-2 counts, he's batting 118. In 3-2 counts, he's batting 156 in 3-2 counts.
I'd love to know what.
Sounds like a guy who probably chases a lot in those counts and gets a third.
Oh my God, Kyle!
19 walks to 12 strikeouts.
If we could pull up a graph of like him against the outside breaking, like the outside corner break, he's probably hitting like .50. Like, on 2 strikes, he's probably hitting .25. Like
When do they have him bat? Where do they have him bat in the order? That's what I
down
want
at like 6 or 7 usually. Like
Okay, that's his
down.
worst. That's his worst. He's batting 289 when he's batting in the number 5 hole. When he's batting number 6, he's batting 250. When he's in the 7 hole, he's batting 242. All about the same. I mean, at bats in the 5 spot, 152 at bats. In the 6 spot, 148. In the 7 spot, 99. And he's got that big of a split there from there down. We're fixing his problems right here, right now. We're telling you everything that they need to do.
Rob Thompson sure will. He won't. So,
and also preferably nobody on base, because it seems like the on base thing really puts that one into a damper. Base is loaded though. Base is loaded. He's batting 333. He's got 6 hits and 18 at bats.
Wow.
He's got to juice him up
Clutch.
for him.
It's a clutch guy.
That's a clutch guy right there. Or he's got to swing first pitch or in an 0-1 count, because he's batting 392 in a 0-0 count. And when he swings in an 0-1 count, he's batting 385. So I don't know why he ain't free swinging 0-1, because if he's free swinging 0-1, the statistics are telling me this guy's going to get a hit. He must dig himself into a lot of holes. Does he dig himself into a lot of holes?
Pitchers will probably figure that out too.
He's constantly down to 0-2. Like it seems like every at bat he's in 0-2, and then he'll chase.
Yeah, 0-2 count. He's batting 153. He's got 59 at bats, well batting 0-2. So that's registered in that count.
Have you seen those clips of Baez that he'll swing a ball that's like 6 inches off the plate? Yeah. Like Castellanos has that same. That's contagious. Like,
do you know when I need a laugh, I look up Javier Baez highlights. You know that. That's what I do. That's what I do.
After a bad day.
It's just what you got to look up.
There you go.
Wow, they do a lot of statistics. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, they do.
He's not good against Baltimore. Let me tell you, he had 14 at bats against Baltimore and had, let's just see, the one statistic he had was 1 RBI, 6 strikeouts though.
Not
0
great.
otherwise. That was solid. He registered a 0 batting average. 25 at bats against Colorado, and he's got a .080 average against them. Are you kidding me right now? That's Colorado.
Can you see one that he is hitting well? Like, it's probably some good team. It wouldn't make any sense.
Dodgers.
Yep. Phillies
381 against the Dodgers. The Twins, he's batting 364. Padres, he's batting 391. Pirates, 333. Toronto, 375.
Wow.
The Cubbies, 364. 318 against the Diamondbacks. 273 against the Atlanta Braves. You guys just have to avoid playing crap teams. He plays against a good team, he's going to hit.
Everybody else can't, though. So it's
Nope. But you'll have Castellanos.
Don't worry about that. He'll carry your offense that day.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you get tragic news while playing the Dodgers, he is going yard.
During the day,
we own the Dodgers.
During the day against a lefty, and
it's over.
Castellanos, man.
I remember there was a statistic about grass,
baseball,
too. There was a statistic somewhere. I can't remember if it was on MLB, but it would tell you if it was on turf, if it was on grass, if it was a night game, a day game. It would tell you everything.
I think I know that website. Hold on. I feel like I've looked at it before. Not with Castellanos, but like somebody else.
Yeah, it was like turf, grass, something. There was a whole bunch of just random things they throw in there. If they painted the lines, if they were chalk, like it was just random.
Slight wind.
Might be baseball savant. I think it's Baseball Savant that does that.
That could be.
Because that website that website's nuts. I mean, yeah, they have like pitch type, how well he does, and everything like that.
Wow.
Some people have too much time in their day.
Yeah. So Castellanos hits 319 against fastballs. He hits 180 with breaking balls and 258 off-speed pitches.
Breaking ball, just every pitch.
Yep, every time.
He
It's
misses
like
it
how
by
you
like
get
4
Ryan
feet.
Braun out. Everybody would get Braun out by bouncing one in the left-handed batter box. He'd just swing away. It was like almost guaranteed.
Seen it with so many guys, like, and you would think they would like one of these years, like at least lay off, and they never. Easier said than done, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Javi Baez was the worst. Like that thing could roll in there, and he was going to take a daddy hack of the ages. Like he was dead set. Like he was one of those guys where if he was swinging, he was swinging, and he was going to swing all out.
he
Respect.
never gave you a half swing. At least he never
No.
gave you. It was all or nothing.
You got to respect that portion, I guess.
Yeah, this website. Yeah, you would lose hours on that website. They have like expected home runs by park, adjusted for like the dimensions and how balls he hit that may not have gone out in Philly. Certain ballparks they would have, and what his numbers would have been.
Oh my goodness, Yankee Stadium. It's just like everybody's hitting 30 more home runs than than where they play.
Playing the White Sox, like 99% home run probability.
Well, here's some of the numbers, right? So he has 16 home runs this year. Technically, if he played for the White Sox, he'd have 17. If he played for the Astros, he'd have 19. The Reds, he'd have 19. So he's on the wrong team, apparently, because if he was on those teams, he'd have a few more home runs. I think it says the Orioles, he'd only have 10.
Well, that's that when they back.
Yeah,
the
that
ball
ballpark is, yeah.
Yeah. What about Fenway? You got to find Boston because how many of them would have cleared the monster?
Since Boston, he would have 15. So he'd have about the same.
Yeah. I mean, he's a righty, so it's not like he doesn't go oppo like ever. Like I don't think I've ever seen him on the Phillies go opposite field.
Right.
Harper, like whatever. But certain guys, I mean, like if you can't go opposite field, you're kind of like if you can't go opposite field. Well, the Giants, that stadium's so big, it doesn't even matter. But like that's why the Yankees stack lefties. Like why not? Why not? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a cheat code though. Like if they got a lineup full of just lefty guys that can, I mean, it would just be a home run barrage. See, they're whatever. Let them manage the way they want. But if they went out and just got guys with a little bit of pop and can get on base and they're lefty, like it would be a massacre at home.
Yeah. Yeah, this website, I got to stop looking at it. They're talking about average home run trot and everything. Like they got it down to
what?
Even
That's too much. That's too much.
Yeah. Castellanos is 45th in the league home run trot. 22.2 seconds.
That's too fast. That's too fast. Gotta walk it out a little bit there.
I mean, one day I might have to go in there and see who's the slowest. Might be Verdugo, since he loves taking like 35 seconds to. Oh God, that guy.
Stanton can barely get around the bases. So
yeah, Stanton just can't run. We know that.
He's old. He's got excuses.
Yeah,
he'd probably hurt himself if he tried running.
He does every time. Yeah, like he literally can't run.
We can't hurt this guy. We just gotta he can walk it out.
I mean, I guess before we do get out of here, just to run through some of the scores in case you couldn't see them. The Royals beat the Angels. Rangers beat the Pirates. The Mets beat the Orioles. The Reds beat the Blue Jays. D-backs beat the Marlins. Then we have some games still going. Red Sox are up on the Astros in the 8th. White Sox and Giants scoreless. The A's are up on the Rays in the 4th. Twins and Padres are tied in the 3rd, and Mariners and Dodgers are tied in the 2nd, scoreless. So it's just to catch everybody up on what's gone on in the league today.
White Sox, Giants. What a game.
What a game. Game of the day.
Yeah. Should be on ESPN. What's ESPN doing these days? Right.
Snooze fest.
They got the Little League World Series. Actually, I don't even think it's on right now. I'm pretty sure it's Fantasy Football Talk because that is, I don't know how that gets on TV, but that's on TV.
Hey, a lot of people are making money off of it. Why not?
Put it on NFL Network then, for all I care. I want to watch ESPN The Ocho, and that's it.
I was watching that earlier, and they had the little like was it Pop-A-Shot? There was an actual championship for that.
Rock skipping. I like watching the rock skipping competition. And then if you stay up late enough, folks, about 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Central Time, you can watch kickball. And that is the
Yes.
most intense kickball I have ever watched.
Yep.
Like I played kickball back in grade school when it was like, we're still trying to beat up the other kids. But I mean, man, oh man, those guys are some serious, like, I don't think I can compete.
Yeah. They'll like run
Like,
100 miles an hour up to
precision.
kick it.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
tap
there's
it like a button to run
precision,
down the
like-
line.
I couldn't do it. There's
Yeah.
too much like thought that's actually go like when I went up there, it was like, how far can I kick this little round ball?
Yeah.
Now it's like, I'm gonna aim this thing. I'm gonna kick it this certain direction. These guys can actually throw, they can actually catch. Like, this is rough.
Yeah.
They
The
got
Ocho
ladies
is
out
a
there who
great
put a
thing.
hole through my chest. Like, this is just nuts.
The Ocho needs to just be a
Every
channel
day.
at this point.
Like,
Yeah.
let's just get rid of
I'll-
ESPN.
every day
Let's
it's
get rid
on.
of ESPN talk shows because, I mean, there's a couple that are decent, but outside of that, come on. We've fired everybody else. We might as well just put ESPN the Ocho on all day.
Yeah.
Free for everybody. Don't got to pay for it. Just get to watch it for free.
Exactly. They had wiffle ball on there. They had
That wiffle ball's intense. Like, I
Yes.
would want to see some of those. Like, there's some talented wiffle ball like players, whatever you want to
Mhm.
call them. Like, I would want to see major league guys try to hit some of them like those wicked pitches that they throw. Like, some of them are just nuts. I would love to see
Yeah.
major league guys go up there and try to hit that. I think it would actually be interesting. I don't think it would be easy. I really don't. I really don't think it'd be easy because it's. I mean, you see some of them pitches coming in. It's like, how do you even hit that? Like, it's a different kind of
Mhm.
skill. It really. I mean, like when Jenny Finch faced Albert Pujols and she struck him out. Like, it's a different kind of like pitch when it's happening. Professional pillow fighting. Jory, we can't have that on national TV. Come on, we can't have that on
Come
national
on,
TV.
family friendly.
Nobody thinks pillow fight and thinks about national TV. That's something that's no family friendly here. Family friendly.
Valid point, but it might
Yeah.
not make the cut.
it was a good one. It was a good one. It was a good one.
They have
but
what? Look, they have like World Chase Tag. They have. You see like the
those are
balloon one?
intense. Have you watched the tag competitions?
Yes.
Those are intense. Like, holy crap!
It's
Like, I remember
parkour
playing
with tag.
as a
It's
little
nuts.
kid. Yes, but you're like jumping over like these big old balconies and everything like that, trying to catch a guy. Like, that's nuts.
It's crazy.
Oh, I get tired watching it though. I'm like, dude, how are you doing that right now?
Yeah.
Are
I'm
there
just like,
is
how
there
are you-
professional beanbag toss? Like, is that a thing?
Oh,
like,
Okay,
You
I
can watch
figured.
professional cornhole. Like, that's on ESPN.
If
Cornhole,
you,
yeah,
if you can
cornhole,
name
yeah.
it, there is a professional league for it at this point.
what about that game where you have like the two balls on the string and you try and get it on the different like there's bars? You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen
Oh
that?
my gosh, I have it in my basement. You want to? I can go whip it out real fast.
That
we can
that-
roll out a game.
That is not easy because like you
No.
got to land it on the bar and then it's got to like stay on there too. Like
I call it family friendly here, but I call it saggy balls. Is what I call the game.
well, see, we're
I didn't know what to call it. My grandma bought it. We started out as a bad story there. My grandma bought it for me, and I'm like, "What are you like?" We were drinking pretty heavily one night, and me and my uncles were out there, and I'm like, "What the hell do we call it? Like, is this called saggy balls or what?" They told me what the real name was. I can't remember, but to this day, that's what I remember it as.
Probably right.
It's probably close
Yeah.
enough. Like, who really knows? Like, that's a dangerous game, though. You're whipping two hard golf balls on a string and an opposite player on the other side. Like, that's dangerous.
You're asking for it a little bit.
It's like
Right.
playing beer darts and Crocs. Like, you just don't want to play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but I will say, like, have you seen the balloon one? Like, they'll put it's like two guys in a room and they're hitting the balloon, and obviously you can't let it hit the ground, and they'll have like set up like a living room, so there'll be like a couch or something in the way, so they're like running around this predator trying to keep the balloon from hitting the ground. I've seen it a couple of times. It is crazy as well. like they are going all out trying to knock this balloon, which obviously it's hard to hit a balloon straight at the ground, but yeah, they go at it.
I
What
would
a world
want to
to be
see a
in.
competition of. There was an episode of Friends. I don't know if you guys have seen the TV show Friends. I think everybody has. But I think it was Ross and was it Chandler? They were throwing a ball back and forth, and they threw it back and forth for like the entire episode. They just like would toss it to each other, like that was their game. It was like a whole episode. I want to see where they put two guys in a room, and all they do is they just toss a ball back and forth. Who can last the longest? Just throwing a ball back and forth. Like that would be so. I wouldn't watch the whole thing because I'd probably take a nap, but like that could be like a Guinness World Record kind of competition. Like who can throw this round ball back and forth for the longest? Can you imagine the amount of time? Like I would get bored. I would get bored. But like if somebody cracks off like 12 hours of just catching and tossing and catching and tossing, like that has just got to be grueling on the arm.
Your eyes
Like
just
no
get
breaks
heavy.
either. You got to catch and you got to throw.
Yeah.
That's wow.
That'd be
Hey.
intense. That'd be intense.
Give it a couple of years, they'll be on the Ocho.
Let's see. Now we got ideas.
Yeah. Jory says, I'd love to see a competition of people doing the crate challenge. That crate challenge was ridiculous. I don't know if you guys saw that. Yeah, they take like those, it was like the black like milk
Crates.
Yes, and they like stack them up as a pyramid, and you have to run up one side and down the other. Because it did happen during the pandemic when people had too much time in their hand, and you'd see videos like every day of people like running up one side, get to the top, lose their balance, and just come crashing down with all the crates. So, look, if they put that on TV, I probably would watch it. Because
so what's the competition?
so
Who
much
survives? Like who makes it to the furthest crate?
So
what
like
is
run
the
up one side and down the other side. That's the challenge.
So, like, are you going to force them to set their own crates up? Because these people at home had to set their own crates. So you have a time limit now. You have, let's just say, 2 minutes. You have to set your crates up, and then you have to do a full-on dead sprint up them crates down the other side. We give you the opportunity to set your own crates up. No anchors, no nothing. You just got to risk it. Like, I feel like it's a competition of who doesn't die. Who makes it out the other side? And if somebody were to pass away doing it, they'd be like, oh, so-and-so passed away, and there's a drive to deep left, and that one is gone. Castellanos has homered again. Back to the Ocho.
I had a feeling you were going to work Castellanos into that when I saw you taking it down the road you were, and it still caught me off guard.
That's what I'm here for, boys. That's what I'm here for.
I mean, look, I feel like at this point we've probably come down to the end of what we had for you. I know, Trey, you usually do a trivia question. I don't know if you had one prepared or not, but
all right, let's go. We're gonna go start, bench, cut. We're gonna go start, bench, cut.
Lovely.
I'm gonna give you 3 guys, and I'm just gonna wing this crap because I'm not prepared for this whatsoever. Okay. Let's go. Jarren Duran.
Okay.
Jackson Merrill. And let's throw a spicy one in there. Trying to think of solid. Profar from the Padres. Let's go 2 Padres outfielders and Jarren Duran in there. I could think of a better outfielder. Hold on. I got to think of a better outfielder. That did. Now I'm caught off guard. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Let's make this interesting. Okay. Hold on. I got a better one.
Okay.
Start, bench, cut. We're going to stick with the same thing. Start, bench, cut. I'm going to give you Steven Kwan from the Guardians. 316 average. We all know about Steven Kwan. He's playing pretty good this year. Brent Rooker from the Oakland A's. 292 average with them 34 bombs. So you're taking, pretty darn good in his own right there. And then we're going to also add in, let's throw a tough one in there. Let's throw Jackson Merrill back in there. 290 with them 17 home runs, and I believe he's got 66 RBIs. Rooker's got 83 RBIs. Stephen Kwan's got 36, 13 home runs. But Kwan is not your same type of guy as what the other two are going to give you. Start, bench, cut those three guys.
Okay. That is interesting. Because Kwan would obviously be like a top of the lineup guy, good on base guy, which could set the table for your power hitters behind him. You got Brent Rooker, who's more of a run producer. Batting average is still pretty good, not Stephen Kwan level. And
Do you want a
Jackson
team that you can put
Merrill.
him on? Do you want a team you could put him on to try and give you a roster that you would throw one of these three guys on, who you throw on the bench and who you're cutting off?
Okay, we can do that.
Let's see. You guys are going to be more familiar with
The
this.
White Sox just scored.
Oh, look. There they go. This one. Here's one. Okay. Atlanta Braves. They got lots of holes. They got lots of holes right now.
Current
every
Atlanta
single one of
Braves
these
with
guys.
all the injuries.
So
and
current
stuff.
Braves,
Braves.
if they could get one of those guys,
Yep.
who would they
If
get?
they could pick up one of them, put one of them on the bench, and they would have to sadly cut the other one, even though they probably could use them.
Yeah.
This is a tough one because they could use every single one of those guys in different spots of their lineup.
I like this one. Okay. This is good. I feel like if I were the Braves, I would probably start Man, that's an added element to it. Do I want the average guy or the run producer?
Mine would have to be, if I was going to pick, Rooker starting, Kwan on my bench, Jackson Merrill is getting cut.
That's actually where I was going. Because I figured they would take the run producer first, because a lot of these games, their lineup just fails them. And the pitching staff's been there, so I would take Rooker. And Kwan would fill top of the lineup that they're obviously missing, even without an Acuna type, even though Acuna was a run producer, but he was also a guy who hit for good enough average. Kwan, that's all you would need him to do. And he could play good outfield defense for you. Now, Merrill, Merrill's obviously a good player. I feel like Rooker and Kwan would fit better on the Braves right now. But like you said, if they could have any of the three, they'd obviously take them and fit them in somewhere. But Rooker would be the start for me. What's going on? You're the man. Okay. Over on Twitch.
You're the man, Sigma.
Yes.
You're the
man. Yeah, how you doing? I don't new name to the chat. Appreciate it. Because we are on Twitch now. Yes, we are.
Ooh.
Cover
We're
all
up
the
there with
bases.
Sketch now. We're up there with Sketch.
Taking his spot.
We are out there in Sketch's universe. Yes.
You could look through my Twitter, but you're not going to find much in the past. Fair warning, folks. Fair warning. Oh, shots at Sketch. Aaron, what do you got?
So I'm looking at the lineup they trotted out against the lowly Angels. I mean, I got to be honest. If Michael Harris is your leadoff hitter, in my opinion, you're in trouble. Like, that is not a great leadoff guy. 224 average. I mean, might as well be in AAA. Might as well. I mean, I'm sorry, 252. I was looking at something else. 252. I mean, a little bit better. Manageable, right? Manageable at 252. But I'll start Kwan because I have confidence that Ozuna can hit me some bombs. I know that dynamic, like throwing a wrench in it with Austin Riley going down, that hurts. Power bat, like, just guy can just smack him like at will. He's done it to the Phillies time and time again. I've seen it. 500-foot home runs, like it's nothing. So as much as I am like a I like the dudes that can hit the long ball, like a Rooker. Like Rooker is, and the fact that Rooker has absolutely nobody around him on that Oakland A's team, he would probably be lethal in a team that even with Olsen and like they don't have a million guys right now, but still with an upgraded lineup coming over from Oakland, I still want Kwan only because he can get on. Like I know he can get on base. Merrill is just too young. Like as much as like he's having a great year, but let's just say pitchers make a lot of adjustments and they figure him out. Like we just don't know yet. Is this how he's going to be his whole career? Is this a shot in the dark? We just don't know. Kwan's a proven commodity. Rooker maybe not as much, but still. So yeah, I'd start Kwan, bench Rooker, and then Merrill would get cut.
Cut Merrill. Okay. So we all agree that Merrill would be the one to get cut, and like Trajan and I would start Rooker, bench Kwan. Aaron, you would start Kwan, bench Rooker. So we're basically in agreement.
I think it's the Austin Riley injury that got me.
Yeah.
I think that's what changed me. Because otherwise it was Kwan, but it's like you want the RBIs now. You need the power to replace Riley. And the average, Rooker's the guy. But I can definitely see where Aaron's talking with Stephen Kwan because Michael Harris, he's a defensive first guy. You're asking for Harris to be a glove and bring a little bit. He's never been leaned on to be a bat because you have Acuna, you have Elbies, you have Riley, you had Olsen hitting well. Like you had everybody. You didn't need him to be a bat. Now he has to be a bat. And it's kind of forcing the hand now of the Braves to say, oh, crap, like we need something to light up. I mean, they got Whit Merrifield playing the field right now. Like they're at the bottom of the barrel of guys.
That's desperation.
Yep.
With Merrifield.
Okay. So, Whit Merrifield, I used to have him on the show all the time. For some reason, I don't know. I always had him on my
back with the Royals. When he was a dog, like back with the Royals. Like now he's
the appeal. Yeah, the appeal to him, back then was he plays like every position, so he's a good guy to put on your bench. Yeah. So that was always the appeal for me. But
he talk about like the Philly stint for him will not be remembered because he lasted like 60 games or 7. Like they flat out cut. Like they were like, you're not going to AAA. Like you're 35 years old. We're done. Like I don't know. It was one of those off-season signings. I'm like, man, this guy, like, I mean, I was looking at his statistical numbers, like, just, consistent 270, 283. I mean, he's hit over 300 a couple times. I was like, he'll get on base, good defense. And he was making errors left. I was like, man, this guy, he's not what he used to be. I'll put it like he fell off unless he finds his way again. This might be like his last season in the pros, really.
Yeah, I mean, look, once you get to 35 or so as a utility guy, it's only a matter of time before teams will just go, well, we got this young guy coming up in the system. We might as well give him a shot over you. So, yeah, his days probably are numbered, or he'll end up in like Colorado next year or something, and we'll completely forget about him. Yeah. Looks like the Astros might have just walked it off on the Red Sox. So that's obviously great to see. I think Yainer Diaz hit a walk-off home run because that's obviously how the Red Sox would lose at this point. It is what it is. Yeah, I think that's the only other game that's gone final since we last talked about the scores. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you guys have anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, nothing.
I love that last Trajan always throws something off the top of his head.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Especially with the integration of like what team are they going on? Like that makes it a whole different thought process.
I get bored. I ponder things.
Hey, that's
same, but I'm not creative.
Do that too. I mean, look, if maybe that becomes a normal thing. We'll pick 3 random guys and pluck them on a team and see who they would prefer. Because that does, start bench cut is something that's been played out for a while, but now you throw in a team for them to actually be on, it makes you think a little bit more about it. So yeah, that was definitely a good one.
We got to hit that World Series matchups again though, where it's like
You guys got to
Yeah.
give me that with, we're not at an hour and 30 minutes into
Yeah.
the episode there. Maybe at like
Yeah.
40. Like at 40, we can jump
Yeah.
into something like that. It takes a little bit.
Right. But yeah, so hopefully you guys did enjoy the episode. If you did, hit the like button. Make sure you jump in the comments next time, like You're the Man Sigma did, or Jory. We do appreciate that. So make sure you go ahead and check out Trajan over on Wisconsin Sports on the Go. Check him out and make sure you give him a listen. Greatly appreciate that, as well as Aaron over with Brutally Honest Sports. You'll get their takes. I mean, Trajan, you'll get to hear him talk about his Brewers. Aaron talks about his Phillies or Orioles. He is also a Orioles fan as well. You check me out, Chomping at the Bit, where I talk Red Sox sometimes when they're not frustrating me with their bullpen just blowing games left and right like they did tonight. But it's neither here nor there. As well as some other sports. But make sure you do come back. We normally are on here on Integrity Sports Network every Thursday. But, life happened. We moved it to Monday this week. So we'll hopefully get back to Thursday this coming week. So make sure you check us out then. So once again, for Trajan, Aaron, and myself, appreciate you for tuning in. This is the Bases Loaded podcast. Enjoy the rest of your night. We're out of here.